All right, it's that time to take a walk into the world of sports on the locker room. This is Smooth 98.1. You're listening to the Smooth Breakfast. Ayokunmi here, ready to get you into some sporting action, sporting news, what's been going on in the world of sports all around. There was Champions League football last night. That's what I would say to start with. And then we'll come with every other thing along the way. I'm not the only one in this morning on this Hump of the Week Wednesday morning. As always, you know, she always is in with all the news information and, of course, the banter to follow as well. The one, the only Tega is in. Tega, good morning to you. Welcome to the locker room.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Hope you've had a great week so far. Today is Wednesday, so you better have had a great week so far. All right, where do we start from? Yeah, this Champions League football, and I don't know. This league thing is a very tough one. Oh. I was looking at the league standings yesterday. Unai Emery is on top, and we're not talking about Europa.
Good evening.
Good evening. So we'll touch on the Champions League. What else is happening in Spain? Sorry, in tennis. We'll touch a little bit on the ATP that's going on in Switzerland in Basel and the one that is going in Vienna. Dominic Thiem finally played his last match yesterday. Lost, but played his last match yesterday. So we'll touch on his career just a little bit, because that's what injury allowed him to have. Just a
Mm.
little bit of success. All right, so we'll talk about that. Also the girls all the way in the Dominican Republic had a tough match yesterday, but they just managed to score. I think they scored a goal in the 80 something minute because I wasn't following it on TV. I was following their social media handles. So really interesting one there. What else? What else? And then we'll talk about how Victor Boniface is faring. All right. All of that and more in the locker room today. But today we are going to open the phone lines early because you see, I have a small flu. So as you can hear, my nose is a little blocked. So talking talking may not be it. But we want to dissect Arsenal. What is the problem? Gone, 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 gone. Do you
Injuries.
understand? I will
I'm
pursue
just
you.
saying.
I will
I mean,
pursue
I
you.
mean,
Injury. Did you know that you will have injury? It's what we're talking about. You will know that you will have injury. So what? So you mean the other individuals are collecting free salary? Some people are collecting salary to play. Some people are collecting salary to sit on the bench and then come on the pitch and cannot even cross ball from one end to the other. So Arsenal fans, get ready to tell us what your problem is. Gone, 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 gone. Because your problem is beginning to get color. Mm. All right.
indeed.
On that note, um, Ayokunmi, please give us the numbers that they will call into because when we get to that story, they must call.
Mm. Yes, indeed, they must call. And that number that you must call when the time is right, it is 0201 4489 981 0201 4489 981. And you can also give us a call on WhatsApp. That's also added to sending messages on that platform 0809 444 0981 0809 444 0981. I said it really slowly so that you won't say, oh, I didn't hear the number. That's why I didn't call. You will call. You must call today. So you can send messages on WhatsApp and also give us a call there. That's also in addition to the studio line. Okay,
Yeah.
let's jump right into the stories.
Sorry.
Diving in, let's talk about the Commonwealth Games. Glasgow has been confirmed as the host city for the troubled 2026 Commonwealth Games, which will be a slimmed down, a slim fitted version of the multi sports event.
Yeah. So, the Commonwealth Games has always been, there's been some fanfare around it and all of that drama. But countries also like the same problem that's affecting the Olympics. Countries started complaining that to host it seems to be costing more than the benefits they get from it.
Mm,
So I think the last Olympics we're talking about spending 800 billion or thereabouts. And they didn't get as much as they expected to get from all the tourism and all. I don't want to say so. I don't want to think so because after the last Commonwealth Games, some people stayed back, some people started going for education tourism. So you may not be able to tie, you may say, oh, we've always had education tourism, but what was the increase after the Commonwealth Games? Do you understand?
Mm.
So it's all those things that country have to look at. And so when Victoria pulled out of hosting because they're just like, look, first of all, it's Australia. They're like, look, if we host this thing, we're going to spend so much money, and I don't see the benefit of coming of it. So they pulled out of it. Commonwealth Games was threatened. Um, Africa didn't even stand up. You know, all the Commonwealth in Africa just looked up. We are looking for where to go to a visa. You're telling us to come and host what? So they didn't even turn up. So it turned out at the end of the day that it was only Scotland that was able to turn up. But one of the compromises they've made was to trim the number of sports. So they just have 10 sports. They've cancelled things like wrestling, rugby, some
Mm.
swimming, a lot of they've cancelled about 12 or so sports,
Used
and
to be
they're just doing
19, now 10.
yes, and then there's just no they even they even added they've cancelled like 12, so they're not even doing 10, only 10, and that 10 it is specific because even some para sports were cut off. So you know that the Olympics, the Commonwealth is the Olympics has Olympics and Paralympics. The Commonwealth has the two together.
Right,
So
right.
they cut off some of those para sports too. So a lot of athletes will be very disappointed, but unfortunately, there's not much I can do. They did that so that they could shave the cost of hosting to about 100 and between 120 to 150 million dollars.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, muted, Tega.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry,
Back to you.
sorry. I had to mute for my block tools. So, so we've come to the they had to reduce the number to be able to host that. So it's a tough one. I think what the Commonwealth organization should do in terms of this is, I mean, they're trying to spread it to other countries outside the UK to host it because, like I said, it's Commonwealth, but it's getting tougher for those countries. So if the Commonwealth had like their own amount, had to their own marketing department to get in more sponsors with other benefits that are not tied to sports, other benefits
Right.
that are probably tied to economy and and international trade, then they'll not have more than enough to also give host countries. So think about it. If Nigeria knows that if we are going to host the Commonwealth Games, we are going to get a particular amount from them, and the rest we can look for from government. They will bid. That much I can tell you. So I
Mm.
think the Commonwealth has to find other trade outside sports to make it now even more attractive because it's getting tougher. After Glasgow, where will we go again? I think the only countries that can conveniently beat their chest and say they would host the Commonwealth are in the UK.
Hmm. I mean, looking at how
Mm.
things are going, Tega, I mean, can we say that there's a possibility, maybe further down the road, that the Commonwealth Games might have to pack it up?
That's what people were talking about. At some point, it was looking like they're going to have to cancel, but because the Commonwealth Games is supposed to be like an apology or a PR to cancel out all the places they colonized. Truth be told, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Enough said. All right, let's continue on the conversation this morning, and let's talk about tennis, where world number six Taylor Fritz said the International Tennis Federation, that's the ITF's decision to allow off-court coaching from 2025 would ruin the 1v1 strategic and mental elements of the game. Tega, what's going on here?
Yes, very tough. I heard about it and I was so mad, and I'm also happy that players are coming out to speak about it. My question is, didn't they talk to the Players Association before they brought out this stupid rule? So what it is that you know how tennis used to be. Tennis is a mental game sport as much as this is physical. So you have to outthink your opponent. Every sport, like you're on the court. So just imagine. For those that don't watch tennis, let's just use a common sport that you watch, football. Just imagine that as you're playing football, then you know what? Mikel Arteta will just, or Pep Guardiola will just be like, my boys are not doing very well. They'll just call, time out, guys, come. This is what you will do. You block that guy. Can you imagine if they did that during the match
on a regular basis?
or
I mean,
on a very or no
that
no
is
no,
minus
you know,
stoppages,
sometimes
though.
that's the outside stoppages, or maybe they had a microphone to be telling these people. So what they're doing in tennis now is that after that before they didn't even used to allow on-court coaching. They didn't allow it at
Right.
all. Then they started saying, okay, if you're standing near to your bench, to your team can tell you what to do. That was the new one. People were saying, okay, wait, at least you can still think for yourself. Now they want to be able to allow you to just be collecting nuggets every 2 seconds. Collect nuggets from your coach. And the players are just like, so who is playing? Are we the ones playing the tennis, or the coaches are the ones playing the game now? At the
Mm.
end of the day, it's becoming. It's almost as if they are watering down the essence of of tennis. Let me not just say men, because it's men and women. And you know that the women's team, they'll be talking every 2 seconds. That one will be worse. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I like that the players are pushing back. I hope that the Players Association cannot just push back on social media and traditional media, that they're actually gathering the association to write letters to say this should not be happening. Of course, there are some players that'll be excited about it. Please, I've been looking for, or especially those players that like to exchange words with their coaches when they're struggling. There are some players that will stand for it, but in the true essence of tennis will completely be lost if they allow the kind of coaching they want to allow. I think it's a new silly rule. It's a very silly rule. But yeah, I think the Players Association need to come up with something, and maybe the ATP, the ITF in general, should pay attention, because it's very
Mm.
poor. It's a poor decision.
Just maybe they could, do something about it. I mean, bearing in mind players are beginning to talk about this particular situation. We'll wait and see
Yeah, about it.
how that plays
We feel
out.
like that pans out. All right. So speaking about tennis, there's the 500 going on in Basel, and yesterday we had one mad interesting match. So it was Stefanos Tsitsipas taking on Serendulu, and Stefanos Tsitsipas had won the first set, and the second set he was looking good until he lost it in a tie break to Serendulu. Then the third set, Serendulu broke him at 5-6. And Serendulu stood up to serve for the match, only for Tsitsipas to break him back, because it was looking like Tsitsipas was all but done. It was almost like it was, how do they call it, pound for pound boxing. It was no longer tennis. It was pound for pound shot. Every ball on that court suffered. You can't recycle anyone. That's how well they beat the ball. But the fight was so interesting. Eventually, Tsitsipas was able to turn the match around again in his favor, and he's through to the next round. But yes, if you're missing tennis a little bit and you didn't know about it, there's one going on in Vienna also, and that's where Dominic Thiem retired after his first round loss. He's had he looked like he was going to have a promising career, and up until the point after he won the US Open. I think he tore his Achilles tendon at the US Open, still managed to go on and win that match, defeating Sasha Zverev. Unfortunately, can you hear me? Sorry.
I can hear you, Tega.
All right. Unfortunately,
You're muted again.
sorry. Unfortunately, after that injury, it was bad. After winning the US Open and looking at the cost of that injury was bad. He has been struggling for years to get back and just get back to the top of his game. Unfortunately, he couldn't. And so he had to retire this year. He announced his retirement this year. He also played some exhibition match against, Sasha Zverev, just like a repeat of the US Open. And he still beat Sasha Zverev. For good measure. You know what they
Good
say? What
measure.
you've done before, you can do it better again. So
Indeed.
he did
Aim to
that.
be better than the last time.
Unfortunately, he lost it against Sasha Zverev in Vienna. So, good news for him. He had a wonderful career. A lot of players had a lot of nice things to say about him, but it was a career that was caught too early.
The career cut too early. You know, let's take a quick break right now. When we come back in, we'll get into the Champions League football, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Arsenal. So much to talk about and unpack as well. Keep it tuned to the locker room on Smooth 98.1.
Sorry, Ayo, I keep cutting to my
What?
nose. I keep cutting muting because of my nose.
Oh, okay.
Because you will not know when to use your cough button.
Uh, Having a cold and having to come on air. No, 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 no. I'm so thankful I've been able to escape that for a while now. If not,
Yeah, how do you do it?
ah,
Okay,
I've been
me,
lucky.
I have allergies. Me, I have allergies.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
anything can turn it off. So like yesterday, the rain that fell, anything can turn it off. I can I can be sitting in traffic and you know maybe because I'm stuck in the traffic for a while and there's exhaust smoke everywhere. By the time I sleep and wake up the next morning, allergies will kick in. Anything can cause it.
Hmm, that's a tough one. And it's something that is hard to hide because that change in
Yes.
your voice is very, it's like this voice doesn't sound the same. We also know
Because
that there's something going on here. Can be
yeah.
so right? Welcome back into the locker room on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. You know, we love music and we love life and we love sports so very much. That's why we are here this morning. Ayokunmi is here with you. Alongside me is Tega Supreme, supremely doing justice to all the sports news. And of course, I know there's banter to follow. Tega, welcome back into the locker room.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm back. All right. So let's quickly jump into the stories because we have a long way to go.
All right, let's drop back in. But before we do that, just to let everyone know, the numbers that they need to write down when we get to that point. 0809 444 0981 is the WhatsApp number. Studio line is 0201 All right, let's talk Champions League football here. Barcelona coach Hansi Flick said on Tuesday that he's not worried by the club's recent struggles against Champions League opponents, Bayern Munich. Of course, he won't be worried. I mean, I
What
ate.
does it mean? What does it mean recent? Because it's been generations. What does
I
it
mean,
mean recent? Like we started to win.
last 6 games, Barcelona have lost against Bayern Munich.
I say you're saying last 6 games. I'm saying it's two different generations. In fact, if we add if we add some of the new, if we add the fact that this is a crutch, it's three different generations of Barcelona teams that have been losing to Bayern Munich, and sometimes in a horrible way because it's a highly anticipated fixture. Um, and you expect a team like Barcelona to deliver, punch for punch against Bayern Munich, but it hasn't been that way. In fact, it has been horribly one-sided. And to make matters worse, Barcelona have got into that financial quagmire, and here they are with a team that, like I said, largely young boys, largely teenagers, and a few of them in their early 20s just running around the pitch and delivering the results. In the La Liga, it's worked out well for them, um, played brilliant football, scored brilliant goals. They're sitting pretty at
Mm,
the top of the table, 3 points ahead of defending champions Real Madrid. But in Europe, they've been exposed once or twice. Remember their first match, they scored early, got a red card, and then they lost that. And today may be a tough one. The good news for them is that they're playing against the Bayern Munich side that also has delivered mixed baskets of results in the Champions League too. So remember their last match where they struggled, and I mean, they were stunned. They were on the wrong end of of stunning news in the world of sports. The good news for them is that is his Vison company, somebody who is also just cutting his teeth in his coaching career,
mm,
at the helm of affairs at Bayern Munich. So that may level the playing field just a little bit. But if you ask me, and of course also with the injury to Harry Kane, I know Vison company said he'd be available for selection, but you know how it is. We don't know how if he's 100%, if he's 80%, if it's 20%. We just know that it's available. And so
right.
all these kind of level the playing field for Barcelona. The one thing I can guarantee is that it'll be interesting, it'll be open, and both managers have the opportunity, one, to continue the tradition of dominating Barcelona, another one to have the opportunity to break, to break this run of negative results. For the neutrals, it'll be interesting. But for Hansi Flick and for Vissel Company, it's a tough match tonight.
It definitely is a tough match tonight. And talking about tough matches, I mean, Dortmund do not want to revisit what happened last night in the Champions League as Vinicius Jr. scored a sublime hat-trick as Champions League holders Real Madrid came back from 2 goals down to hammer Borussia Dortmund 5-2 on Tuesday, repeat of the of last season's Champions League final.
Yeah, what I can say about first of all, Vinicius Junior has one hand on the Ballon d'Or. It's remaining for him to carry it up and take a picture. He has one hand on it with the performances he's been putting in since the start of the season. But for Borussia Dortmund, I would say this: even in the first half where they came away with a 2 goal lead, Real Madrid had some chances. Their defense was exposed. Real Madrid had some chances, so
Mm,
it would have been silly to say, "Oh, Real Madrid, we are leading by 2 goals to nil. We are comfortable." On in Europe, across Europe, teams already know. Doesn't matter how much you're leading Real Madrid by and what the time is on the clock. As long as the referee's whistle is not in his mouth to blow, it's not over. You have to keep playing. So I don't think Dortmund would have expected that Real Madrid will come out the same way in the first half like they did in the second half. But what happened in the second half was a shocker. As much as they expected Real Madrid to come out, they did not expect Real Madrid to come out with the intensity and aggression Real Madrid came out in the second half. Like
right.
as they're walking down the tunnel, Real Madrid were already attacking them. It wasn't a question.
No,
Yeah, because
no wasting of
remember,
time.
remember the Real Madrid team came out first, and then Dortmund was coming out strolling and still discussing Nuro Sahin's tactics. By the time they got on the pitch, Real Madrid rushed them like hot rice. There was no breathing space. It was back to back slaps. And so there was no time for them to gather their thoughts together. And even when they looked like they were going to gather their thoughts together, go on the other end and try to get something, the ball was quickly snatched from them and the hope was snuffed out of their game. So it may have been Vinicius Jr. getting on the score sheet, carrying the team on his back, getting on the score sheet. But it was waves of attack after waves of attack after waves of attack. Borussia Dortmund had no breathing space. So yes, those 5 goals in the second half were exactly the way Real Madrid expected it to be. Tough one for Dortmund, but hey, when you meet somebody bigger than you just have to doff your hat.
You have to doff your hat and, of course, accept that, on these ones, they pass me. That's just the way it is. Right, let's talk about Liverpool, who are looking to improve. Now, new boss Arne Slot filed to improve on his record-breaking start to life as Reds coach in Wednesday's Champions League match at RB Leipzig.
Yeah, so already we've heard that Diogo Jota is going to miss this one through injury. He didn't even travel with the team. But Arne Slot has had, an exceptional start to the season. A lot of people would have been thinking that maybe there'll be a break in performance because Jurgen Klopp, who was there for a while, had left. But Arne Slot has not made people to miss Jurgen Klopp when it comes to results yet.
Mm.
You can question some of the few performances, but when it comes to results, he's doing a-okay. And he's going to be facing RB Leipzig, another team that can be tricky and interesting. And that's what makes this tie exciting for them. But you would expect that Real Madrid, with the experience that, sorry, Liverpool with the experience
Liverpool.
that they have in their team, yeah, Liverpool with the experience they have in the team, Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk, the chance, the opportunity that some of those players have even played in the Champions League final, um, is going to be able to come out against RB Leipzig top. But it's going to make it interesting, having a new coach at the helm of affairs playing against Leipzig. Let's see how they can deal with that. And on that note, let's go to another team from England. Sorry, yeah, for another team from England. Arsenal. They played last night.
Mm.
They won their match by 1-0. Lucky goal, if you ask me, because Martinelli that ball hit the post and came off the back of the goalkeeper, so it was an own goal. Missed a penalty in Leandro Trossard's miss,
Right.
but we're able to come out with the results. However, Arsenal has not been smooth for a couple of games now. Now, some people can say it's injuries to major players. Some of their players are also losing form. Because if you ask me, William Saliba doesn't look like he's in good form. And because he's not in good form, that best defense we're talking about for most of last season and for the start of this season is beginning to look a little shaky and vulnerable.
Mm.
And so with Liverpool coming this weekend against Arsenal, it could be tough. So I wanted us to diagnose what is really the problem with Arsenal. The numbers to call are
0201 0201 Arsenal faithful, please come through and let us know. As the armchair pundits or managers that you are, give us a call. You can also do that on WhatsApp as well. There's a call coming in on WhatsApp. I think it's from Big E. Let me take this one. Hello. Hello, Big E. Good morning to you. Okay.
all right.
Okay, Big E.
Okay, we have to.
All right, Biggie, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Time is very much faster, but the point is very well taken. He says injuries, and of course, the manager has a part to play in this. Tega, let's do messages as we round up on the conversation this morning. Time has flown by, as it always does when we're having a good time. Uh, who's talking to us here? AY from Europe says Vinicius Jr. has such a spectacular world class, or had such a spectacular world class performance yesterday for Real Madrid. Dortmund just couldn't keep up. Unfortunately for Mbappe, this is Vinicius's team, and by next week, Monday, he'll be a Ballon d'Or winner. Um, Tayo says Nagelsmann was suggesting something for football. I just want his phone number and address so that I can talk to him. What did he suggest, Tayo? He further says Flick is an insider. He should know their password. Real Madrid did a divine resurrection. Tega, he has both hands and legs on the award.
on the
That is
award for the Ballon
that is
d'Or.
Vinicius. Vinicius. Fred says, I'm so angry right now because Stuttgart, of all teams, spoiled Juve's unbeaten run in Turin. Well, it was bound to happen at some point. Juve haven't been very spectacular in front of goal.
Exactly,
So,
especially with that performance from last night. That performance
mm.
deserves to be. You should have deserved to lose like 3-0.
And Stuttgart also even missed a penalty. So there's
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Emeka says the Arsenal game was totally flat for the entire 90 minutes, a complete snooze fest. It was like watching paint dry. Aside the 1-0 victory, the only positive I saw from that game was that Arsenal completed the game with 11 men this time. I think it's high time Gabriel Jesus starts considering playing in Saudi. Okay, and let me take one more. Mayowa says, this weekend's El Clasico will be sweet. The Real Madrid that I saw last night, boy, oh boy, I thought they were Ajebota, but these guys had venom. YouTube, Uchina Nwokwe says, Madrid struggles in games, but still grinds out victories. Teams tend to underrate them and get punished. Solid comeback by Madrid. And on that
All
note,
right.
Tega,
On that note, thank you so much for sending me your messages via WhatsApp. Thank you for tuning in to Smooth 98.1 FM. Thank you for streaming us live on YouTube, and thank you for your phone calls. So we'll come your way again on Friday, where hopefully there'll be more banter. Have a great week.
all right, Tega, have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you for being a part of the locker room this morning and your messages as well. Keep it tuned to the Smooth Breakfast. We're going to get talking on a conversation at 9 o'clock on Lakers Talks.